You almost interviewed Rupert Murdoch. He agreed briefly to have you speak to him. What were you going to ask him, or what did you want to ask him?
Oh, well, this is deep waters. So this was in the last month or two of that big trial at the Old Bailey, Rebecca Brooks and the others. And I had made contact with some of the Murdoch people in New York. And I was saying to them, look, you must be very worried about the PR strategy once this trial ends. And you'll be thinking about this and thinking about that. But have you thought of this? Why doesn't Rupert come out with his defense on the Guardian website? I'll fly over, I'll do a 10-minute interview with him, and it will be much more exciting. And you'll break new ground if you do that. And I said, look, don't be worried that I'm going to ask him embarrassing questions, because I can't do that because he's got such an easy get out, which we've already seen him deploy. If I ask him anything about phone mail hacking or crime, he says, I don't know, I was too far up the tree to know what was going on the ground. So he's safe, isn't he? So they took that message back, and the message came back from them to me. He says yes, but the kind of consigliere around the Godfather was saying, no, I don't do this thing. So it never actually happened. The thing is that, I don't know whether I've said this publicly, but actually I had a secret agenda, which was that...
Not surprisingly.
By that time, Murdoch had divorced his then wife, or had separated from his then wife, Wendy. And stories had appeared in the British press and also Vanity Fair to the effect that he believed that his then wife, Wendy, had had an affair with Tony Blair. I first heard that rumour, I just thought that's ridiculous. But then the Mail on Sunday published two very detailed stories about it, or quite detailed stories, and Vanity Fair published an extraordinary email which the former wife, Wendy, had written about Tony Blair and the beauty of his legs.
Yeah.
So if that's right, Rupert Murdoch has fallen out with Tony Blair. I'm not interested in anybody's sex life. I don't think we should be writing about each other's sex life. But supposing I could get into Rupert's room and do this 10 minutes video, and then the video comes off, okay, that's great fun. That's a great piece of drama. It's The Hobbit in the Dragon's Cave. That's absolutely wonderful in itself as a piece of journalism. Okay, Rupert, let's just talk. Tell me about your political dealings over 20 years with our Prime Minister. What was really going on in the run-up to the invasion of Iraq? What did he say to you when he was telling the public he hadn't made up his mind about invading? Was he already committed? What really went on over this, over that, over Gordon Brown? What messages did you carry from the White Hat? There's the story. So, in the background, one of the things that was being said by reporters in London was that the two big stories which had appeared in the Mail on Sunday about the alleged affair with Blair had been leaked with Rupert's permission, that he was that angry with Blair that he wanted the story out to damage him. So I was thinking, well, if he's interested in damaging him, there must be some political stories.
So you thought you might be able to get in that way.
Once I'm in the room,
right,
I can start to have that conversation
off
with
camera.
him. Yeah.
Right, and just start it.
Yeah.
Do you believe there was an affair?
I just don't know. And furthermore, honestly, I just think we should get out of other people's bedrooms, unless there's a crime being committed, in which case we should probably call the cops. It's a particularly ugly British disease, this constantly peeking through keyholes to see who's shagging who or what they're doing when it's horrible. But it sells papers, and they say, oh, it's in the public interest that we disclose that so-and-so is having a bonk with a prostitute or wears stockings when he goes home to bed. It isn't in the public interest, it's in the commercial interest of newspaper owners, that's all.
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to londonrealacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media login and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonrealacademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.